Copyright laws apply to all contents of this video. Hello, JOMAJ Studios here, and this is our original fantasy action adventure, Like Water, The Next Age. Episode 2. The next morning, Barnabas and I walk into a plain and rural-looking village, set up in the middle of a desert. This seems nice, says Barnabas to Eyes, as the villagers stare at them with an unwelcoming air of suspicion. The young couple are approached by a middle-aged man who is accompanied by 5 able-bodied men armed with automatic weapons. "Hello," enthusiastically greets Barnabas. "Who are you and what do you want?" asks the man, verbally slapping away Barnabas's attempt to establish a pleasant and cheerful interaction. "My name is Barnabas and this is my wife Eyes. We're just travelers passing through. In fact, we were wondering if there was any way we could help this lovely looking community," responds Barnabas, seemingly unfazed by the lack of hospitality. "Keep to the passing through. This community doesn't need any help from unwanted strangers," says the man, as his men subtly advertise a willingness to use their weapons to support their leader's sentiments. "No problem, we don't want any trouble," says Barnabas, still displaying an enthusiastically cheerful disposition. The young couple begin to walk away. Then, Barnabas stops and turns around. "I don't mean to be a bother, but how is your community doing for water?" asks Barnabas. "There isn't enough to share with strangers," responds the man. "What? No. Me and my wife have all we need. I was wondering what you folks are doing for water, seeing as all the water outside the metropolitan areas are contaminated. Not to mention, we didn't really see any obvious sources of water near here." "Are you from the government?" asks the man. "No, then what or how we do things is none of your concern," says the man, cutting off Barnabas. Suddenly, out of nowhere, screams begin to spread around the area, and 15 mud mutants suddenly appear and plow through the village, tearing apart and taking a bite of anyone who wasn't fast enough to get away. "What the?" says the man as he pulls out a handgun and joins in with his men, who by now have begun to open fire on the beast alongside other armed villagers. But the bullets were having no effect on the beast and were only serving as inspirations for the beast to focus their attacks on. While Barnabas took time to read the makeup of the attacking creatures, Eyes jumped into action, grabbing a sharp metallic pole, birthed out of the surrounding destruction, and begins to do battle with the mutants, efficiently ending 3 of them in her first 8 movements. Now understanding the origins of the mutants, as well as establishing the fact they weren't human, Barnabas leaps into action, creating a field of dust around him, which he manipulates into a variety of weapons, depending on the number and proximity of his attackers. Sometimes the dust serves as a sword, sometimes it serves as a bowstaff, sometimes it serves as a whip, and other times it serves as projectile-like daggers, all of which he wielded with a consistent level of grace, agility, and accuracy. Before long, all 15 mud mutants were vanquished, while Barnabas and Eyes were surrounded by 50 villagers, some of whom were amazed by them, and others who just wanted to show their gratitude. In the midst of all the commotion, Barnabas notices a woman sitting on the ground crying uncontrollably. "It's okay, they can't hurt you anymore," says Barnabas after approaching and kneeling beside the woman. "My children, they're gone, screams the woman as other women from the village hug and lead her away, while Barnabas stares on helplessly. "One of those things must have taken them," said the man as he approaches Barnabas. "My name is Barry. Thank you for all you've done today," says the man as he offers his hand to Barnabas, who in turn shakes it while thinking about the well-being of the woman he had just seen being led away. That evening, the community sat, celebrated, mourned, and ate together in the village square, while Barry met with one of his subordinates in the dark, away from the fellowship. "Are they secure?" asks Barry. "Everything has been put in place for the last hour," answers his follower. Both men proceed to a warehouse on the outskirts of the village. They enter the building and turn on the lights, only to find Eyes standing a few feet in front of them. "What are you doing here?" asks Barry. "Don't bother. She refuses to speak like most people do, and prefers to speak one of 2 languages, one of which is understood only by me, and the other involves an experience that is usually unpleasant," says Barnabas, sitting on a chair designed to accommodate a prisoner, while Eyes cracks her knuckles. What is the meaning of this? Asks Barry, now a little nervous. Now you might have guessed I am a programmer, which for many simply means I'm some kind of wizard that commands the elements. The truth is a lot more scientific but somewhat hard to explain. Like how a bird flies or a fish breathes underwater, says Barnabas as he casually walks up to both men, who are now incredibly uncomfortable. Anyway, being a programmer gives me the ability to view and read nature the way you would a book. This allows me to reprogram it and of course wield it in creative ways, says Barnabas, then causing the walls and the roof of the warehouse to quietly dissolve, while the ground they stood on transformed into a stage before the village that now sat before them like an audience in a theatre house. Your fellow countrymen told my wife and I about how you had created a machine that could turn the blood of animals into pure drinking water, which is amazing. Here's the thing, my wife is the best hunter you will ever see, because apart from having impeccable tracking, archery and shooting skills, she can literally overpower any animal with her bare hands. So much so, she literally uses herself as bait sometimes. The thing is, since me and I ventured into this area, we have been forced to adopt vegan diets because we haven't come across a single living creature safe to capture and eat. Which begs the question, where have you been getting blood to turn into water? Says Barnabas, at which point the woman that had been crying earlier made herself visible with her now safe children alongside a dozen other people. We found this woman's children, along with those men and women, strapped to chairs designed to drain every drop of blood from their body. Which begs the question, how long have you been providing this community with water on the backs of innocent lives? Says Barnabas, now making direct eye contact with Barry. About a year. That's when people started disappearing. All this time we thought it was because of bandits, says the mother. Barry and his subordinates tried to make a run for it, but Barnabas creates a cage around them out of the very ground they stood on, and then merges the cage to a prison to the left side of the stage that housed the remaining dozen men that worked with and for him. Brothers and sisters, we live in an age where the general care and love for others is on the verge of being extinct. Now is a time when an early and unnatural death is extremely likely. My wife and I will stay and make this town self-sufficient, but that will not guarantee your safety. We haven't been here for a full day, yet you have been attacked by monsters and you have discovered that your own kin has been sacrificing your own for clean drinking water. This is why you have to get right with God right now and give your life to Jesus Christ. Only then can you create yourself a win-win situation. Survive and see the second coming of Christ, or die and go and be with the Lord, says Barnabas, addressing the entire village. That night, the entire community got right with God and dedicated their lives to Jesus Christ. The next day, Barnabas uses his programming skills to provide the village with a source of clean drinking water and a large plot of fertile land filled with a variety of vegetables. He also endowed the mother he reunited with her children with basic programming skills to purify contaminated water. Please ensure the resources are used wisely, advises Barnabas. I will, says the mother as she kisses Barnabas on the cheek. The villagers then wave goodbye as the young couple continue their journey. That is the end of episode 2, but before we go, answer this episode's question. Now all the villagers have given their lives to Christ. What should they do with Barry and his men if they are unrepentant? Give your answers in the comments below, as well as on our Facebook and Twitter page. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for the next one. Until then, subscribe to JOMAJ Studio YouTube channel, add us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Link to our website on all social media can be found in the description box below. See you later.